Well, yeah, we're constantly being propagandized. I mean, all information is propaganda, right? The gospel is propaganda, right? But it comes from revelation. Like that's the difference. But it is astonishing. Most Americans now get their news primarily from social media rather than like a legacy news source, which is pretty amazing. Once we have a certain perspective within our community and we blame things on the algorithm. I don't even know how an algorithm works, but it seems to really just feed us what we want to consume. So I think it's very easy for people to get in their echo chambers.
If I knew how the algorithm worked, we'd have more viewers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This might not be the podcast to reveal that, though. But there are other tech podcasts, and it's interesting looking at all this. I'm really, as a priest, my concern is how people are actively consuming that which is causing the passions, right, to rise in them, and especially with anger, with judgmentalism, when they don't have the whole story, right? Because often when we read something, it's not giving us pros and cons. It's not giving us the whole thing. So when people think politically, they might hear what I'm saying and say, "Oh, am I arguing, against a free press or something?" Like I said, I see China and the United States as very different countries. Well, so does everybody else. So do the Chinese, and so do most Americans. Right? We're very different countries, and I'm not that interested in either system imposing on the other in a lot of ways, right? I mean, every culture has to decide their own governance. It's even a mistake to compare Soviet communism and Chinese communism as it exists today, or earlier communism with communism as it exists today in China. China's always very interested in just doing what works for China, and they will borrow from capitalism or whatever else. As a priest, my interest is not in policy or in law. My interest is in what we are doing individually and as people, as part of the church, to try to avoid sin and try to incline ourselves toward an everlasting peace, right? Peace in Christ, and avoid these passions that do no good in our own souls. They do no good in our churches, and they don't do good in our relationships with people in the world.